Right. So let's take a few moments to find out how it is we get integration by parts. Very simple. We start with the product rule, u times v. I want to find the derivative with respect to x. Now, according to product rule, u and v are two separate functions, both related to x. We're going to take the first function, u, multiplied by the derivative of the second function. Add to that the second function times the derivative of the first function. There we go. There is our product rule. Now, we want to integrate this. Now, if I want to integrate this, the first thing we're going to do is multiply everything by dx. They all disappear. And now when I integrate this derivative right over here, we're just going to get u times v. Over here, when I integrate, I'm just going to get this u dv plus the antiderivative of v du. Again, what I did started off with, I just multiplied everything through by dx. It's just solving a differential. Now, let's talk about the meanings behind this. Remember, this u right here, that u right there, that is our first function. That comes from the first function. This dv, remember, that is the derivative of our second function from product rule. So if I use a little bit of algebra, just use a little bit of algebra, I can solve for u dv. And that's going to equal u times v minus the antiderivative of v du. Remember, let's take a look at what all these means. This is the first function from product rule. This is the derivative of the second. Here's my first again. There's my second. This is the original function right there. V, there's my second function, and this comes from the derivative of the first. Integration by parts comes from the product rule. So if I have like an example of something, if I want to integrate something like, let's say x, let's do a new one, cosine of x dx. Well, how it works, very simple. Ready? I need the first function. Well, I'm going to let this one be my u. That's going to be my dv. Okay? Remember, this is my first. That's the derivative of the second. Well, the rule says simple. Copy down what the first is. That's u. X. You need to find the second function. Well, this is my derivative. Well, the derivative, the antiderivative, is going to give me sine. So that's just going to become x sine of x. There's my second function. Minus the antiderivative of our second function again, sine of x. Du is just the derivative of x, which is just dx. And I can integrate this. X sine of x minus, and this just becomes negative cosine, so I get plus cosine of x. Don't forget your constant right there. Very easy to do. Now, I don't like this method. I still will always tell people it's still always better to list it out. U equals x, dv equals cosine of x dx, du equals just dx, v equals negative sine of x. Oops, sorry, positive sine of x. Sorry. So if I plug it in, I'm going to get x sine of x minus the antiderivative of sine of x dx. It may be a little bit longer, but it's less kind of it's just a formula versus trying to memorize, oh yeah, what's chain rule here? Or what's product rule? So this becomes plus again cosine of x plus c1. And there's and that's how we get integration by parts. Alright, thank you guys for joining me. I know these were a little bit long, but hey, hope you had fun. I did. Bye-bye.